Kia ora koutou, and welcome to South Pacific Muscle. And today we've got a very, very special guest who I'm very blessed to have on. To me, Joseph is you're a bit of an icon, bro. I've got to say, for someone that I've known and someone I've trained with. I look at you very much as an icon in the fitness industry and someone who's done some amazing things. So, thank you for coming on board and joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Nate. And thanks, Mike, as well. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. So I'm going to enjoy this podcast.
Awesome, bro. Awesome. Hey, look, for those that I don't know if there's anyone out there who doesn't know you, bro, to be honest. Look, you're probably the undisputed king of social media influencing in terms of fitness industry, definitely in New Zealand, hands down, possibly the Southern Hemisphere. A huge following, and look, it's been really cool watching that journey. I remember way back when you were sort of kicking off, and even then I knew that it was going to be something special, but it's been really amazing to see you go through that journey and remain a very humble guy, but also very proud of what you've achieved, and it's been amazing, man. So
thank you very much.
So let's find out a bit about you for those that don't know. And look, I don't know a lot of your background really, other than from our time as in the bodybuilding and gym communities. But we'll kind of kick it into three parts, and we'll get you to tell us a bit about where you grew up, where you're from, your family, and your early sports and those sort of things as a kid.
Yep. Okay, so I grew up out West Auckland. I was always a skinny kid, very skinny. I was always into my sports. I played soccer since a very young age, right up until about maybe 18. Really big into skateboarding, and at school, I used to participate in pretty much every sport there was. Whenever we had PE, physical education. I love sport. Very good at cross country, so I could run a long distance. But for some reason at high school, whenever we had weights room, I didn't like lifting weights. Maybe just because I was a skinny guy, I was the weak kid of the class. So whenever we had weights day at school for PE, I forgot my gym clothes because I just didn't enjoy it. Anyway, time passed, obviously. I left school. I was never good at school. I failed and I dropped out. I basically only went to school to muck around with my mates and eat lunch.
Wow.
So yeah, I failed school. I passed PE because I love sports. Went and I worked for my dad. My dad at the time owned a food distributing business.
Yep.
So I worked for him packing food orders literally in a freezer, negative 18 degrees. It was hell. And I also used to go out on the road and do some deliveries as well. During that phase, I didn't really know what I was going to do with my life, really. But prior to that, my mum, she won a free gym trial. Yeah. She didn't want it, so she gave it to me.
Oh, God.
So me and my mate, we went along to the gym, and I don't know, I guess it became like a social environment. So even though we were the skinny kids, we kind of just used to go there, and our mates who we used to go to school with, or who we went to school with, they were all there, and it just we went for the 2 weeks, and after the 2 weeks, I enjoyed it. I joined up, but it wasn't to really train or change my body. It was kind of just for the social environment.
Yeah.
As weird as that is. But we started going here and there, even though we're pretty inconsistent with our training and all of that. Just because we're new to the gym, I guess we made the newbie gains. So we started seeing, some growth in our chest and our biceps. Didn't train back or legs because and then after we started noticing some progress, I guess we got more serious. I started researching about training, nutrition, and applying that knowledge that I learned to myself. And as soon as I did that, my physique started changing. The more my physique changed, I guess the more I fell in love with actually lifting weights, which is something I've always hated. I figured out, once you train and you get the results, that results makes you feel good. So it makes you want to go back and train even harder and be even more strict with your diet. So yeah, I got into a good routine, a good diet. My progress came through pretty fast. And I guess something that was something I didn't enjoy turned out to be a hobby. And then from a hobby, I guess it turned into my passion. And now many years later, it's my career.
That's kind of a freaky story that your mum won a gym membership. And if it hadn't been for that, perhaps the story might have been different.
Yeah, it definitely would have, because I would have never got into the gym.
Yeah. But I guess, having worked for your father, who owned a business, you obviously picked up a few business skills and acumen along the way, working alongside him and seeing him run a business, when you were a young fella.
Yep, I'd like to say I did, but I got in trouble most of the time at work for stuffing up or something.
Yeah, I guess, like I've always seen people like that and notice their discipline in that, and it kind of relates. It's very similar discipline to what you have when you're training. So, you kind of learn an ethic even by absorption, I suppose, just being around people like that. So,
yeah, that's true.
So I actually use you as my example. I'm a PE teacher, and I've got a few kids who don't like it. So I might have to say, hey, flip it around. You can make a career and a fortune out of it.
Yeah, exactly. The fitness industry is growing like crazy.
Yeah, man. And look, and then you hit training pretty seriously, and I remember must have been 2011 or so training with you, and you were up there with the rest of us in terms of size and all the rest of it. But instead of heading in the usual direction of being a full-time gym-based PT and sort of sitting in that mode for quite some time, you seem to have sort of jumped into relatively quickly into the online thing, and somehow I don't know, because I didn't see the background behind that, but you developed and became probably someone that people now look up to as someone, as such a social media guru who kind of led the journey in the early days. So do you want to tell us about that change from training and taking that interest in the nutrition side of things and the training side of things into that first step into the online world?
Yep, sure. So basically, once I found my passion for the gym, I knew the gym was something that I wanted to do. So I left working for my dad, and I went and studied to be a personal trainer. So I got my qualifications, and I actually started working off in a gym, training clients one-on-one, doing boot camps and stuff like that. But at the same time, or actually prior to that, I was posting my pictures online on bodybuilding forums like bodybuilding.com, posting my before and afters up. And so many people were messaging me, wow, like amazing progress. What was your diet like? What was your training like? So I used to reply back to them, and then people used to ask me for diet. So I used to create diets for people for nothing. And it got to the point where I just couldn't handle the amount of people wanting, meal plans, workout programs for me. So that's when I set up a basic, simple landing page. Well, someone else did it for me. And I started offering a service, selling meal plans and workout programs, custom and personalized to them. At that time, I was still working in the gym, but I guess then I established myself online via social media. I started posting videos on YouTube. I started vlogging on YouTube. I started posting videos, pictures, all of that on Facebook, and just trying to grow and get more exposure out there in the world. Later on came, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and all of that stuff. TikTok, I'm even on now, like all these other social media platforms came up. So I just tried to create content and put content out there on all the platforms to grow myself online. And the more I establish myself online, obviously the bigger audience I'm in front, the more eyeballs I'm in front of. And I just started promoting my services, meal plans and workout programs. And I started pushing that, a lot harder. And it got to the point where I was making quite a decent amount of money that I, thought, okay, it's time. I don't need to work in the gym anymore. So from working 6 days, I went down to, I think 5, then 4, then 3. And then I left the gym and just went fully online because I was making enough money to, live comfortable, I thought. And I guess from there, over the years, I've just been trying to scale it as much as I can. Just putting my content up on all platforms, trying to provide good value content and being consistent at doing so. And it went through a decent time period, but then it got to the point where I couldn't grow anymore and I couldn't scale my business anymore, simply because of the, number of hours in a day. And, you can't do 100 meal plans a day. And if you've got 100 clients and they all want a different meal plan every month, there's a limit, there's a cap. So I couldn't scale my business. So that's when I went to a web company and I met these guys who I told my idea. And my idea was I want to build a platform where I can have a website, I can have a mobile app, and I can create custom meal plans and workout programs for people all around the world based on what I recommend and what I advise without any manual work for myself. So basically, we created the system. So when a client signs up with me, they enter in all their information: height, weight, age, gender, daily activity level, et cetera, what their goals are, what they want to achieve. From all this information, it can work out how much calories they need, how much protein, how much carbohydrates, and how much fats, based on what I believe in. Just a rough example, I believe my client should have 1 gram of protein per pound of their lean body weight. So if they had a lean body weight of 180 pounds, that client would get 180 grams of protein per day minimum. Can be more. I have my fat requirements, I have my carbohydrate requirements, and I have all these different rules and beliefs that I believe in regards to nutrition and in regards to training. And I've put all these rules and all these beliefs into the system. So it can create a meal plan and a workout program exactly as if I was to sit down and manually write it.
Holy shit.
That basically allowed me to scale the business and pretty much take on as much clients at a time as I want. If I get 1,000 clients a day, every day, that's no problem, and it's no more additional work for me. It then also allowed me to work on my business, growing it, instead of working in the business, just creating the meal plans and workout programs all the time. And since I've been able to do that, it's helped me grow and scale so much. And it's also helped me help a lot more people. I've now, helped more than 140,000 people all around the world. Wow. And that would be impossible if I was doing it manually.
Look, I mean, I guess the reality is if you've done 140,000 people, because I was going to ask you that, Chris, I was really interested in that. If you were to do it online manually, that figure would probably be what?
400, pushing it.
So really smart and timely of you to throw some time into developing something that was based on your beliefs. That must have been a pretty big jump to jump into that kind of thing, because I know that's starting to become more common, and with different coaches around the world of starting to, but we're only talking in the last 6 months we're seeing some of those things. So how long ago did you get back into creating that platform? When did you first get the idea? And
yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but it would have to be at least 6 years ago now. Wow. Yeah, I'd say at least 6 years ago. And the web company that I went to, 3 of the main guys who helped me build and develop it, they left that web company and they've now come and work for me.
Oh, no.
Because they've seen how well it's doing. And yeah, it's just been a great way to be able to help more people around the world. We've got over 30,000 hashtags on the JRF results hashtag, over 20,000 hashtags on the JRF challenge. So my clients are getting amazing results and they're posting up online. It's just promoting it even more, just by themselves.
Just snowballing.
Yeah.
Hey, as a I'm an HR geek and that's what I do for a job, but I'm interested in the employment front of that. And how many people do you directly employ or subcontract in terms of what your business has created for the community, both in New Zealand and outside of New Zealand?
Good question, and I've actually got no idea. So I've got 3 fitness companies. One is kind of the software company, but at Josef Rakich Fitness itself, in New Zealand, there's probably about 11, but including the ones overseas, we've got some developers overseas, probably around 20, 23, around there. But in total, over the other 3 companies, there'll be maybe between 50 and 60.
Wow.
So I also own another fitness company. It's called iifym.com. I bought that website, and it's basically selling meal plans as well. But that's getting all organic people just from Google search.
Yep. Fuck, that's really cool, man. Like, from, someone that could have remained a personal trainer, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, great profession, but to creating a business that is providing for 60 employees or contractors and things, and their families, that's a neat story, bro.
Yeah.
And look, you're not that old either, so I think there's probably a hell of a lot more to come in the story, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about where you see yourself going in terms of what the future holds in terms of the business side of things.
Yeah, definitely there's a lot more room to grow. I guess my short-term goal is I want to help 1 million people worldwide, and I know that that's possible. And I guess the goal is just to grow and expand Josef Rakich Fitness as much as I can and I really want to make it a household name. I want an entire phone call center where my clients can get on the phone with someone from my team and ask their questions, trying to build all that out. And I want it to be mainstream, just like Weight Watchers have done.
Wow, that's a cool aim, man. As we interviewed a young guy the other day, and I think I made the comment, I love people that have got fucking big goals. They don't put the blinkers on, and to say, I want to be a household name. Fuck, I'd love to see that as a household name more so than McDonald's.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Exactly.
No, look, it's really cool. That's a big aim, and for you, it's a worldwide thing. It's a global game, which makes it so much more exciting. So yeah, it's really cool, really cool.
Thank you.
For someone at your age to achieve the things you have in business, obviously it comes from a passion, but what are the sort of key things that you think gave you created your success? What are the things that you believe that what attributes that you had, or what things you focused on to get where you've got to?
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely drive, determination, passion. And I honestly believe you have to love what you do, and you have to do what you love. Because if you don't, it's going to be so hard. And whenever you face certain challenges or things that are too hard, because you don't truly love it, and because you're not truly passionate about it, you'll give up and you won't be able to get past whatever obstacle it is. But if you truly love it, it's what you live and breathe, and it's your passion, and it's everything. You'll always have your foot on the gas, and you'll always give it 100%. So I believe that's the most important thing. Do what you love and love what you do. And if you do that, more so than chasing the money, you'll be very successful in whatever that is.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. Look, to me, money is a very low-level motivator. However, I've got to say, it's nice to see people being rewarded for something that they've thrown their heart and soul into and that they're truly passionate about. Beats the shit out of going working in the coal mines in Siberia and, getting a pay packet. So it's really cool to see, how passionate you are about the industry. And I mean, having trained me, I think it was at Wolf's actually, and Wolf's on the Shore, and I've seen you train a handful of times over at, it was Wolf's in Henderson probably back then. I know how passionate you are about your own training as well. So really, really good to see that. I'm gonna go out on a limb here because I think it's something that Mike and I, we love bodybuilding. That's why we're here. But all the rest of it, absolutely hopeless on. So if you were in our shoes, what would you be doing to make the South Pacific Muscle channel grow and get better coverage out there, and so we can share our bodybuilding and gym culture from New Zealand around the world? What would you be doing in our shoes?
Yep, good question. And first off, having a podcast is, a great way to get out there. Like, people right now, they want to listen, they want to learn. So podcasts are blowing up at the moment. So it's a very good thing that you've done. And I guess the best way to get out there is to get people on who have decent followings, decent audiences, interview them. If they're an interesting person, you know, try and get the information out of them. And then that person that you interview is going to share it on their social media platforms as well. For example, I'll share this, maybe not tonight, but maybe tomorrow or something. I'll share it up there, and, you know, that just gets my audience to see that. And then my audience, some of them may come and listen to this podcast because they want to find out this or that. And I guess that's the best way to get out there. Also, where does this go? Does it go on YouTube or?
At the moment, we upload to YouTube, but Mike is in the process of getting the whole lot converted and put up on the different podcast platforms. So
yep,
it's
perfect.
Whoop.
Yep, put it on Facebook, put it on YouTube, and when you put it on YouTube, it's super important to catch the person's attention. So you can't just put this video up on YouTube and you know, call it podcast or something, because YouTube's a search function. People go on there and search. So the thumbnail needs to be eye-catching. The title needs to be eye-catching as well, and the title needs to be relevant to what people are searching for.
You can name tonight's podcast right here.
I'll name tonight's podcast. And if there's like an important or a clickbaity thing that I talked about in the podcast, you know, you can kind of put that into the title or the thumbnail. Because at the end of the day, the title and the thumbnail are kind of more important than the actual video. So first off, if you put your video on YouTube, for it to get views, it has to get clicks. For it to get clicks, it has to catch someone's eye. So the thumbnail and title is the most important thing. And then after that, it goes by watch time. So if the video is interesting or boring, for example, if someone leaves in the first 2 minutes, YouTube will recognize that as not good content. So it won't promote it to other people. But if most of the people watch 60% of this video, YouTube will recognize, okay, whatever this is good content, and it'll push it to more people who are recommended audience.
Very good, and I thought about that last night. I thought a lot of the time I edit these and get them uploaded at night, and I just let them go, and it automatically selects a thumbnail, which is absolutely terrible. So I will never do that again, Mike. You've got my word. I'll create a thumbnail. So hey, look, I appreciate that, Mike. I'm going to hand over to you because Mike actually wants to dig into a bit of nutrition and training.
Yeah, I'm the X's and O's guy. So I guess, you know, you've been very successful with the process and the plan and the sort of guidelines that you've promoted through your meal plans and your training plans. I mean, without giving away too many trade secrets, could you give us a bit of a rundown of your general training philosophies or general nutrition philosophies for people?
Yep. You know, sorry, for myself or just my clients kind of?
Either. Just a bit about your idea of how you like to train and train your clients.
Yeah. So when it comes to myself and my own training, I always believe in variety. So I change things up between, you know, volume and frequency. So for example, I like my bro splits, hitting chest once a week, arms once a week, back once a week, legs once a week. I love that. So most of the time I'm usually training everything once a week at high volume and just smashing it. But I do believe in variety and mixing things up. So sometimes I will pull the volume back and increase the frequency. For example, train each muscle group twice per week or 3 times per week. And I always believe in mixing things up. When I'm bulking or when I'm cutting, my training pretty much stays the same. Maybe just a little bit heavier during the off season, bulking, because more food. And the only thing that really changes during a bulk or a cut is pretty much my diet. And then I sometimes include cardio, but not very often. I'm not much of a cardio guy, even though it is very effective. Now, in regards to what I do for my clients, the best...
Oh, sorry, could we just... Sorry to interrupt you there, but just to close off what you were talking about yourself, when you're in your off-season versus pre-contest or cutting phases, do you do anything like, do you go with keto? Do you carb cycle? Do you sort of slowly trim calories? Are you high proportion of carbs, high proportion of fats or proteins? How do you sort of structure your own diet personally?
Good question. So my my metabolism is pretty fast. So, you know, when I'm trying to put on size, you know, I can get up to 5,000 calories per day and still remain lean. Right now I'm on 4,200 calories daily. My carbs are very, very high, you know, pushing 500 grams every day. And yeah, that's what I usually like when I'm trying to put on size. When I'm dieting, I can go between a keto diet and just a normal diet with protein, carbs, fats. However, I am not really a fan of low carb diets. When I'm on a low carb diet, I feel tired, I feel lethargic, I feel no energy. So I'm either very, very high carb or keto. And when I cut, if I do a keto diet, I feel amazing. My energy is always high and sustained. I feel good, you know, productive in the mind. I can just pump through so much work, very clear in the mind, not hungry at all. It takes away all of my hunger, all of my cravings, and it actually helps me stick to the calorie deficit. And yeah, I just feel really, really good. If I try and diet on a low carb diet, you know, I'm talking about like 150 grams of carbs per day, I feel tired, I feel lethargic, low energy, brain fog. So it doesn't really work for me. So I'm either very, very high carb or keto. And I love keto. It's a great diet, and I promote it a lot for a lot of my clients. And 90% of my clients get the most amazing results on keto. Now, it's not because the keto diet is superior for fat loss compared to a diet containing carbohydrates. At the end of the day, fat loss comes down to creating a calorie deficit. And if you're in a 500 calorie deficit diet with carbs versus a 500 calorie deficit diet that's keto, fat loss will essentially be the same. However, the reason I promote keto so much is because people can actually stick to it. When they follow a diet that has protein, carbs, and fats, they don't stick to it because comes the weekend and they kind of think, oh, one burger won't hurt with my mates. Oh, some chips here and there won't hurt. And one leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. But when I have clients on keto, they stick to the diet because the rules are so strict. It's you eat this, you eat that. You don't eat any carbs. It's almost like there's a really strong line in the sand. And so that when they are out with their friends for dinner, they don't get the burger because it'll kick them out of a ketosis state. So they get the steak and butter. So they actually stick to the diet better. They adhere to the diet better, and they seem to get better results. Now, as I mentioned, I've had over 140,000 clients. So my marketing guys have so much data on my clients, and retention rates with people on the keto diet is far superior. Because they don't want to get out of the ketosis state. So they stick to it, they adhere to it, and they get results. I think the people that don't enjoy keto are the people that do it wrong. They just remove all the carbs and they feel terrible. But if you do keto right and you are consuming a lot of dietary fat, you know, butter, MCT oil, fatty salmon, avocado, bacon, eggs, your body is getting enough fat and your body can run off that fat and ketones and you actually feel good. So there's other benefits of the keto diet as well. Like when people diet and they go into a calorie deficit and they're on low carb, they often feel tired, lethargic, hangry. When my clients go on a diet that is keto, their hunger disappears, their cravings disappear. So it's easy for them to stick to the low calorie diet, which is required to lose fat. They also feel really good. They feel clear in the mind. They feel productive. And also when they are on a keto diet, because there is no carbohydrates, insulin is a lot lower. And with low levels of insulin, the kidneys don't hold on to salt and sodium. They flush it out. So usually in like the first week, my clients sometimes drop 4 or 5 kgs total. A lot of that is water weight. Well, pretty much all water weight, but that is so motivating to lose 4 or 5 kgs in the first week. My clients are like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm definitely sticking to the diet. I'm not going to break it. But when people don't see results right away, it's hard to really stick to it and stay committed.
Interesting, Jay. You must almost be a bit of a psychologist now with that amount of data and seeing what's working and what's not working, what regimes people are sticking to, and the results that people, you must have just masses of information that create some real clear pictures in your mind as to direction for the business and direction for clients in terms of progress.
Yep, 100%. And all that data just helps us, you know, better target our audience as well. And it's so true, man. Like, most people can't stick to a diet. So sometimes the rules have to be really, really strict. And that's the only way to really get them to stick to a diet sometimes. And yeah, like, we've got years of data. We've got so much clients worth of data. And, you know, it just definitely outweighs the people that can actually adhere to the diet are the ones that do a keto diet. Now, I'm not a 100% keto guy. I don't always promote keto. If someone doesn't like bacon and eggs and fatty foods, you know, keto's not the diet for them. I've still got heaps of clients who get amazing results on a diet that contains carbohydrates. At the end of the day, the most important thing is creating that calorie deficit and adhering to that calorie deficit.
I'm surprised the university hasn't approached you and asked for anonymous data to run meta studies on weight loss. You know, a lot of value in that information. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. So would you? Yeah, no, that's all right. Would you keep someone on keto long term that becomes the new sort of lifestyle diet?
If they love it and if they enjoy it. Now, I don't see there to be any downside to being on a keto diet. The human body, we don't need carbohydrates, but we need protein and we need fats. There is your essential amino acids and your protein, and there is essential fatty acids, your fat, which your body needs, which you need. But there is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. So we don't need them. I'm not saying they're bad. I eat a lot of them, but we don't need them. We can survive with just protein and fat. We do need some glucose, but our body can get that glucose from protein through gluconeogenesis, which is the conversion of protein into glucose. So we don't need carbs. So you can technically stay on a keto diet for a very long time, for indefinitely if you want. But my advice is you should do the diet that you enjoy and that you can stick to. So if you can do keto for a long time and you get amazing results, but then you want to start eating carbs again because, you know, sometimes you just want to have some carbohydrates. And I'm not saying don't ever eat an ice cream or a pizza again in your life. So if you do want to start going on a diet with carbohydrates, you know, some rice, some sweet potato, etc., that's perfectly fine to do so. And basically what I do for my clients is we just balance the calories. So obviously if they come off keto, fat gets decreased and carbohydrates get increased. So calories are still balanced. But yeah, carbohydrates are not needed, so they can do it. But carbohydrates are good. They're a great source of energy. And
do you find people's training intensity, volume and so on, effectiveness sort of stays up through keto without the sort of glycogen for the muscles?
Yep. So keto is very good for long distance sports like running, for example. When your body uses that fat and that ketones as the energy source. For strength and everything, keto doesn't seem to be a problem. But maybe some high intensity bodybuilding workouts, like, you know, the style of training that I do, where, you know, you train for an hour and a half, lots of volume, lots of sets, lots of reps. Obviously, glycogen is your body's first source of energy and first source of fuel. So it probably makes sense for a bodybuilder or someone competing or prepping for a show to be on a calorie deficit diet that contains some carbohydrates. I've dieted on keto, obviously, and personally myself, I didn't notice any difference at all. And I think probably because my protein intake was fairly high on my keto diet, just because that's what I love and enjoy. So I do think there was a little bit of gluconeogenesis going on, and I was using some of that carbohydrate glucose during my workouts, during my training, even though I wasn't consuming any direct sources of carbs at all. But if I had to say, for the general public, I think keto is good, keto superior for their workouts, for their training, for just their general life. But for a bodybuilder prepping for a show that's training hard, heavy, 1.5 hours plus, I think they would probably be better off on a diet that does contain carbohydrates. But majority of my clients are not bodybuilders.
Yeah. So using fat as a long-term energy source requires more oxygen than burning carbohydrates. So therefore, your intensity level needs to be a little bit lower for that long-term exercise. My wife's just tried keto, absolutely loved it, got all the same sort of results that you said, that mental clarity, no hunger pains, just felt fantastic. But then she was doing a half marathon, and she found that her longer runs, she would just sort of hit the wall early. She had to kind of lower her intensity of her running. And I assumed that was due to the increased oxygen demands to break down that fat as fuel. So we transitioned her back into carbohydrates before the Queenstown half marathon that she ran. So then she's planning on going back on keto. But is that something that sort of you've had, that you've noticed or had experience with, and kind of maintain high intensity of long-term cardiovascular exercise even on fats? Or is there a sort of a transition period where athletes sort of get more efficient at using that fat as a fuel source for long-term cardiovascular work?
Yep. So I guess, so most of my clients are just the general public. So they're not, they're not athletes. But talking about myself, when I've done a keto diet cutting, and I've also done a keto diet when I was bulking and in a calorie surplus, I didn't notice too much difference from my workout. I'm not much of an endurance guy. I loved cross country when I was younger, but now I don't run. From what I've read, I thought maybe a low intensity type of cardio would be superior on a keto diet. However, if the intensity kind of passes a certain threshold, then I think the body switches over to that carbohydrates and that glucose source. Yep. Then you would have to have carbohydrates to perform at a higher level for that. So I guess
probably quite specific to people running those long distance events. It'd be quite a specific type of nutrition probably needed, and I think in that circumstance, I think anyone who's doing elite level or high level in a particular specialized sport, you probably want to funnel off to someone that has a very, very in-depth understanding of what goes on there, because I guess the general population and what applies to them, and lower level athletes, everyday athletes, 5-day-a-week bodybuilders and all those type of things, is probably very different to someone running half marathons at a high intensity, pushing themselves. And I know your better half wouldn't have been, she would have been pushing herself pretty bloody hard. So
yes, she does.
Yeah.
My boss at work does Ironmans, and he said it took him a while, it took him sort of almost a year or so to transition across, but he'll get up and he'll go for 5 hours, a 5-hour run on an empty stomach, and then he'll just eat later on. Whereas, and he's running fine. He said he couldn't do it early, so therefore, he's obviously running off his fat stores. Couldn't do that early on. It took some time to transition across. So obviously, and his intensity would be relatively high too. So obviously his body adapted to kind of use that either more efficiently, more effectively, or something.
On that one, Mike.
We kind of got off topic a little bit.
There was an ultra, what do they call them, an ultra distance runner, and a nutritionist I know was working with them and said that they were just piling the fats into them because the sheer calorie output, they couldn't match that with carbohydrate. They needed to load the fats.
Was it during the event or post?
No, pre and into.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And I think, obviously that reason, if they're ultra distance marathon, whatever you just said, they are burning a hell of a lot of calories. Yeah. And there is only a certain amount of calories that you can eat from carbohydrates. Like, I'm eating so much potato, so much rice, so much oats. But when you eat so much oats, your stomach just expands. But when I've been on keto, even at the same calorie level, same calories on keto, my stomach just went so tight, but it felt like there was nothing in there. You can pack in more calories without all that. Like, maybe you can eat 3 big bowls of oats in the day, but you can't be eating 10, That's just like...
I wonder if there's something in that for, because with competitive bodybuilding at the moment, there's such an emphasis on having a tight midsection and the big kickback about stomach distension, and they're sort of saying, with these high-level athletes, how do they pull their gut back in while maintaining their size? And maybe a period of sustained keto or something like that, where they're not having to get those volumes of food into their gut. Maybe that's a
100%. I strongly believe in that. So whenever I'm on a high carbohydrate diet, like right now, I feel very thick in the waist. I'm not talking about body fat. I'm just talking about like air and gas in the stomach. It just feels thick. I just feel like the oats, the carbohydrates, they ferment, and the bacteria, maybe, I don't know. But when I'm on keto, even at the exact same number of calories, my waist is streamlined, tight, zero bloating, zero protruding. It's just a wall. And if you actually think about it, the old school bodybuilders versus today's bodybuilders, completely different physiques.
Mm.
There was no old school bodybuilder that had a protruding gut.
Yeah.
A lot of them these days have that protruding gut. And these days, if you look at it, these bodybuilders are eating 600, 700, 800 grams of carbs per day, every single day, for years and years. Mm. The old school bodybuilders, they weren't keto, but they were pretty much a high fat diet. Like Arnold ate steak, he ate eggs, he ate burger patties. That was what their diet was based around.
Yep.
And they used to, from the interviews I've read and the videos that I've watched, I think his name is Rick Drayson, the guy that passed away. He used to train with Arnold. He's talked about all their diets, and he said they were all super, super low carb, and they even used to drink the cream on the table to get more fat.
Yep.
So they weren't keto, but it was almost a high fat bodybuilding diet compared to the diets of today, which is super high carbohydrate and low fat. So I feel like the diets today, because the number of calories that these guys have to consume, like 8,000 calories, there's so much food, so much carbs, and all that insulin just makes your stomach bloat and gas. And doing that years and years, it goes like that. But the old school bodybuilders, because they were eating the burger patties, the steak, the eggs, etc., they all had streamlined, tight waists, and they could all do a vacuum.
There's a physical
factor in there.
Yeah,
other factors, but
there's a physical volume too. I guess if you're eating fats, getting 9 calories per gram versus having to load in 2.5 grams of carbohydrate per gram of fat to get a similar sort of calorie output. You can probably maintain a higher calorie diet with a lot less bulk in your gut, just physically. Mm.
Yep.
Sorry, Mike, I hijacked you.
No, that was good. I mean, I think we're sort of off topic, but really interested in that from a personal perspective, because I go high carb. I mean, high protein, high carbs, and moderate fats. But everybody's been raving to me about keto, and so I've decided next time I'm sort of going through a bulk, I'm going to try a sort of a mini cut on keto to just try it out and see how it might work for a competition cut later on, but just to increase that insulin sensitivity. So I'm lining up some keto probably in about March next year. But I'll keep pushing out the calories. So really from a personal perspective, really interested in how it all works and how it all fits together.
Yeah, and the only way to find out really is to try it yourself. That's the best source of feedback that you can get.
So same but different. Training side of things. Do you have any sort of general principles or philosophies that you use with your clients? The training, I mean, obviously they'll intermix with the diet side of things and the calorie expenditure. Do you advise a lot of cardio? Do you use a lot of functional exercises? Or, obviously every client's different, so every client has an individualized plan, but do you have any sort of general training philosophies that you go by for your clients?
Yep. So when a client signs up with me, there's different options. There's beginner, there's intermediate, and there's advanced. So if they're beginner, I start off with just the basic exercises and, hitting everything twice per week. Just because the volume's not as high and they're not training as hard because they're just getting into the gym. Then each month they get a new meal plan, a new workout program. So I have different requirements for every month. So the reps are going to either increase or decrease relative to the weight. And as I keep progressing through the months, all of these things change. if they're intermediate or if they're advanced, to get a bit more specific exercises, a bit more longer workouts, a bit more intense, more sets, etc., etc. So it's all custom in a way to every single person. But the overall, I guess, thing that I do for everyone is always believing in variety. So even the advanced guys, you know, it could be 1 month where the reps are all very, very low. So it's heavy weight. Rep range could be from, 4 to 10. Just really, really heavy kind of work. And then it could be a completely different rep range in some months down the track. It could be 15 to 25 for most of the stuff. Not going light, but just really trying to mix a variety up. And again, even when they're advanced, I change the frequency and the volume. And I've preset all these requirements out.
Are those adjustments that are made contingent on the feedback that they give you? So they'll do their check-ins and say, yeah, I kept up with this workout, or these are the weights I lifted, or these are the PRs I got, and that sort of feeds through into the adjustments that are made by the system?
Yep. So everything is updated on a monthly basis. So after every month, they fill out the question form again: height, weight, age, gender, daily activity level, and their goals. So the goals might change. But if their weight has decreased, that'll maybe or maybe not change or not change their training program. For example, it could be a decrease in calories, or it could be an increase in cardio. Just finding one way to increase that calorie burn so they can continue dropping weight over that time period. But yeah, everything is pretty much trackable. So when a client does do his, for example, just say he's got squats, he's got 5 sets of squats. Set 1, he's going for 15 reps, then 12, and 10, 8, 6, etc. He can record his weight for all of these sets. But this is, I guess, his own information, so he can see how he progresses. So the workout program won't be changed in a style depending on what weight he lifts. But they can record all of that information, and they can see their progress over time, if it's going up or down, etc., etc.
I think that feedback for me has been the biggest thing that I've got out of moving into a coaching kind of mode, is just to have constant feedback, and like kind of it's a little bit of a pat on the back, even without a pat on the back, to see how you're tracking over time, and you think, and I look all the way back here and holy shit, I'm up here now. I never noticed, because it's so incremental,
Yeah.
Cool.
And now we're really trying to get our clients to make sure they take progress photos as well. A lot of people start and they don't take a before photo. Yeah. 2 months go past and they're like, oh my God. And then they try and find all their old photos, which they find, but they're like not good photos.
Yeah.
So we really try and push the point, hey, take a before photo. You don't have to post it. Keep it 100% to yourself, but just have that so you can look back on that and where you were,
Funny, hey, because when I was at my fattest and I hadn't trained, I was actually too ashamed. And this is after all my years in bodybuilding and stuff, and I haven't got a body image issue, but I didn't want to take a photo. And then I look back now and I'm 25 kilos lighter and I'm thinking, fuck, I wish I had that photo, because I would post that to the world next to the new one, so, and so that's a really good message to people. Like, at your worst, take a photo and keep it for yourself, because no matter at that point in time, you would die before showing anyone it. There will come a day that you'll proudly hold that photo up next to the new one,
Yeah, so true.
I posted a photo on Instagram after the 2019 Nationals, and I was pretty lean. I'd just come off stage, and I said, this is a before photo. It may look like an after photo, but this is a before photo for how awesome I'm going to look next year. And Nate commented on it, goes, every photo is a before photo.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that comment. Oh, that's gold. Hey, what we might do is jump across and have a quick look at your Insta. There's a ton of stuff on there, but we'll have a quick squiz. So I'll just share that screen. So here we've got Joseph's page, and you can see here, you can click here and it'll take you straight to his website if you're going to have a look at. lots of story updates, and they pop up on my feed, and I quite enjoy going through those. What I really like, and when I can get my computer going, is you've dragged your cameraman into, he's going to do the challenge, I see.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And he got the before photo too, so good on him.
Yes, we made him.
Yeah, cool, man. So, you've got a great videographer, so big shout out to him. But he's jumped on the program, so that'd be really cool. See how he progresses.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah, man. Man of the moment, eh?
Yeah. I'm so happy that Rami won it, man.
Same. I think everyone is.
Yeah.
Such a humble dude too, you know.
So humble, yep.
Just cool. Just really, really cool. Really enjoyed it. And your lovely bit of half there, Joseph.
Yep.
Yeah. I saw some really cool. I really enjoyed your photos of your engagement and all that stuff. They were cool, man. Yeah. Really like that. Yeah, they were neat. Really cool seeing you sharing stuff.
Like those training videos you did with some overlays of correct and incorrect technique.
Yeah, those. So I'm on TikTok now because I understand that's where the audience is. That's where the people are. I'm not a guy to do my TikTok dances and that. That's just not me. But I'm posting those right and wrong videos on TikTok, and they're taking off.
Cool.
And I'm actually posting them on YouTube. Not YouTube. Posting them on Facebook as well. And some of them are getting like 10 million, 14 million views.
Come again?
10 so million some of those
plus
long
views.
Right videos.
Yeah.
I'm posting, they're from TikTok, but I'm posting them on Facebook.
Yep.
And they're getting 10 to 14 million views. So that's really helped get me some exposure.
Far out. Because I've always had this thing, because I'm an HR manager by day, I have all these issues with people posting stupid TikTok videos in a work environment where they shouldn't be. And I made the statement the other day to my managers. I said, anyone who's on TikTok should be fired, period. And just laughed. It was a silly comment. But interesting that it's become such a good platform.
Yeah. I don't like TikTok itself. I feel like it's such a time-wasting platform for most people. But I understand that's where people are going. That's where the eyeballs are right now.
Yep.
And I'm just trying to find a way to get my content up there. So I'm doing those wrong versus right videos, and that seems to be working for me.
I might get myself a TikTok account and have a look. I don't know if it'll be going against everything I am inside to get a TikTok video, but no.
It works for me for so long. My marketing guy kept telling me, mate, you need to get on TikTok. I was like, I'll do anything but TikTok.
Oh, gold.
As a school teacher, we're always advised to kind of be very careful with social media and so on. And my wife's a police officer, so she's quite likes to keep that kind of under wraps as well. So we've sort of avoided social media to some degree. Just have to watch what kind of gets posted and what it gets linked to and that sort of thing. So.
Because it's crazy now, like there's so many different social media platforms and everyone's posting anything and everything. Everyone's got their own voice, opinion.
Yes. Hey, one of the things I really appreciate is the leg shots, Joseph. You know, I've seen you train legs, and there's a reason you got legs that don't fit in suit pants, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I love my leg days.
Yeah, cool, eh? Tons of photos, guys. So if you want to go and have a dig through, and there's some really interesting stuff on here. Ooh, got a feedback on there.
About 7,000 posts I saw.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Far out. Look at them all. What a midsection though, man. You're blessed there, my friend.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm really jealous because I have very, very shallow abs, and like literally I'll be coming down, I'll have veins running across my stomach and you can still hardly see my abs. So any tips for me in terms of developing thickness in those abs?
Yeah, I honestly, so when it comes to abs, obviously two things. One is the body fat, obviously, but I think it's super important to develop well-developed abs, because the better your abs are developed, the deeper the cuts, the deeper the lines are going to be. So a lot of my ab work is probably 80% of it is weighted stuff. like weighted crunches, hanging knee ups with weight in between my feet. Because I'm trying to build the abdominal muscle size. Because I believe the bigger the abdominal muscle, obviously the deeper the cuts are going to be, which is going to help with definition and lines. So that's what I've been focusing on, using weight. Like I think, you know, you go in the gym and you train your chest with weight, you train your biceps with weight, you train your legs with weight.
Yep.
So why not train your abs with weight? And
yeah, I mean, you've definitely got the thickness there. Like, you know, in that photo there, it looks like you'd stick your fingers in and you'd sink in up to the first knuckle sort of thing. So, you know, obviously put in some work because, you know, most people, regardless of how lean they get, you know, wouldn't have that depth and thickness to them. And I think, you know, a lot of the time we probably don't pay enough attention to them. I certainly haven't. They become an afterthought until I have to go on stage and think, fuck, they look terrible.
100%. And so I've been really aware of that. And I've, you know, made sure, okay, I'm training my abs twice a week. Make sure I'm doing that. Make sure I'm doing that. Now, like if you go in the gym, you train chest for an hour and then you do like 10 minutes abs. So, or 10 minutes calves. So you can understand why your calves don't get the growth and the abs don't get the results that the chest does.
Yeah.
So if we started training our abs and our calves, just like we did our chest, we would get the same progress. They're just the boring muscles to train.
I think I've got to change my view on that. You know, like it's a weak point for me. If I want it to be better, I've got to pretend, well, not that I really want to, but I'm not pretend, but I've actually got to go, how much better do I want to be? And if I don't, I'm cutting my own throat essentially by turning up with weak, thin abs.
Yeah.
This is your second Lambo.
Yeah, I had a orange Gallardo before that.
Fuck, love it, man. Cool to see you. Cool to see you with something to show for it, my man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you just scroll up a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit more. See that stop, that one with the red X? Yep. If you click on that. So these videos are from TikTok. And when I started posting these on Facebook, it really, really blew up. And that's helped me gain so much exposure and so much new audience, especially on Facebook. So I'm not a TikToker, like I said, but this is the kind of content that I'm posting on TikTok, and that seemed to work very, very well for me. So if there's any gym guys out there watching this, which obviously everyone is a gym guy, and you want to get into TikTok, this is a style of video that seems to be pretty effective.
Cool, man. Very cool. Right. Hey, we've kept you for quite some time, but I just want to open the floor to you to give some shout outs to some of those people that have helped you along the way and supported you in your journey, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate being on here. Thank you for both your time. I enjoyed the talk, so that was great. But yeah, I guess I'd just like to thank everyone, man. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do this myself. I've had the support from my family, my mum, my dad, both my brothers, they work for me, and my amazing team. You know, I'm good with my social media posting and creating content, but I've got no idea when it comes to marketing or running ads. So my marketing team does that, and they're amazing. I've got a great customer support team, and without them, you know, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing. So definitely teamwork, and teamwork makes dreams work.
Cool, man. And on that note, people, thank you for watching, and we will catch up with you later in the week.